Hi guys, welcome to another video from It's Girl Time. In today's video, we are going to be talking about things that I do that have helped me become a happier person, and maybe dive a little bit into kind of like what the healing process has been for me. I actually am going to dive into like the healing process and how that was for me, just because I feel like it makes sense to talk about that first and then dive into the things that I've done that have made me happier. Okay, so first things first, I started my healing process, I would say, in like 2020 when I moved back to Puerto Rico. But I feel like the first step really in healing was just that I was basically just like tired of my own shit. I feel like you have to get to that point of getting tired of your own shit to then be like, okay, I want to change, and I'm like ready to do that. If you are in the mood to change it, let me tell you, you are up for a ride. Because healing is a lot more emotionally draining than you might think. But the moment that you start healing, you feel so much lighter and so much more happier. And it's honestly great. I feel like obviously you do you and whatever works best for you. But I feel like personally going to therapy was great because I kind of needed that like guidance from someone to be able to like learn how to better handle my emotions. So something to always remember during your healing journey is that emotions aren't linear. You know, just because you're feeling good one day doesn't mean that, you know, you might feel sad the next day, because it's a process. And to that too, also, just because things are in the past doesn't mean that they have been properly dealt with emotionally. You know, just because technically the time already like passed by doesn't mean that you're automatically like over it. Personally, it took a lot of like forgiving myself, not because I had done anything wrong, but just because like not making myself feel guilty for not having like better knowledge to deal with the things that I have dealt with before. You know what I mean? Like not giving myself a hard time for doing the things the way that I did them when I did them. Also, just letting yourself feel your feelings has been very good. Like, for example, today has been kind of like an kind of day. And even though a part of myself is actively trying to like pep myself up a little bit, I also don't want to like push myself to do that, you know, and like to the degree where it's like fake, you know. Obviously, like I don't want to let myself drown, but at the same time, I'm not just gonna obligate myself to feel something that I don't feel. So I feel like that just makes it a lot harder for myself to like get there, if that makes sense. I've also meditated a lot, which has been really good. So overall, healing is it's not very difficult, but I feel like it's a lot more difficult than what people give it credit. So now going into things that I have done to make me happier and kind of get out of that like negative space of feeling like sad, because it really, healing is just like a lot of letting go. And sometimes you might feel, you know, scared to let go, because it's like, if I let go of all of these things that I knew, then what do I have? You know, like, what do I have left? And I feel like sometimes that could be a scary thought to like confront, but the way that at least I think about it, it's like, you know, if you let go of like the old stuff, now you have more room to learn new stuff that'll help you become a better person. And I feel like that mentality has really like helped me. So beginning to talk about things that have made me happier. So the first one is learning to have faith and like truly believe that things are going to work out. You know, and that doesn't mean that things are going to work out necessarily in like the way that I want them to, but it's like having faith that, you know, that they're just going to, regardless of like how that is, that it's gonna take like place. And the next one is being present, and that is something that I learned recently, and it's basically just like being aware of the fact that like the past is already gone and the future hasn't come yet, so all you really have is the present time. And I feel like we spend sometimes so much of our time worrying about either things that have happened or things that are going to happen, and we don't appreciate the current time we are actually in, and we end up just wasting our time waiting for things to happen. I feel like for me, well, let me backtrack. I feel like sometimes people wait for like big events or just like big things to happen in their life instead of just making the most of the moment. So I've kind of learned to just make the most of what I call like the in-between, which is basically just like any ordinary day, you know. It's like that time in between bigger and more important events, you know what I mean? The way I think about it is that, you know, life is always going to throw things at you. So you kind of have to take it upon yourself to make the most of whatever moment it is that you're living in, because you never know when something can go wrong or something bad can happen. I so much rather appreciate those moments that I have, the people that I have around me, just because I know that I didn't waste my time, you know? And the next thing is being grateful. And I feel like the second that I genuinely started appreciating everything that I had in my life, I automatically started being a lot happier with my life, because I acknowledged all the things that I had. You know, I feel like I always try to express gratitude, especially with the people that I care about, because if you don't, then they're never gonna know how it is that you feel, and they can't exactly read your mind, you know? And the truth of the matter is, and this is something that kind of hit me really hard when I like understood it, and it's a quote that says, you never know when your last day with someone is gonna be. And like, imagine if the time that you did have with that person, you just took it for granted and you didn't really appreciate having them there. That's deep and really tough. One moment, I'll be right back. I have to apply glitter on my eyes. It's just gonna be relatively difficult. Okay, I'm back. I have a lot of glitter on my eyes right now. I look like a disco ball. Here we go. Next one. for being happier. It's not just loving myself, but it's going a step further and fully embracing each part of my personality and of the things that make me who I am. So another thing that I have done that has made me a lot happier is being a lot more optimistic about like life. You know, because you know, 24 hours of the day are gonna go by whether you like it or not, right? You can't control that. But what you can control is what you do and how you feel in those 24 hours of the day, right? And let me just say, being optimistic doesn't mean like being in denial of where you're currently at and just like blindly pushing yourself to be positive. That's not it. Optimism is more just like having faith that there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, even if like the current state isn't the best. I feel like I've grown to be even more optimistic in the past year, and it's made me really happy. I feel like more than anything I just have like a very firm belief that things are gonna work out and that things aren't as worth it to worry over as much. And the last one is about not giving up. And I say this because as life, right, goes on, I feel like sometimes things oh no. Let me finish doing my lip line before I mess it up again. What I was gonna say, I feel like as life goes by, right, the difficulty of the problems that we face increases. And so sometimes it's really hard to not give up, you know, and want to stay positive, stay strong, and really stay resilient in, you know, the fight for life. Because even though there are a lot of happy moments in this life, there are also some really sad, difficult moments. And it's just holding out for those happy moments and making the most of those moments that is what fuels not wanting to give up in the difficult moment. At least for me, that's how I think of it. And that's how, you know, for me, giving up is not an option. You know, there are days obviously that I feel like all I want to do is just give up, and I just sit and I'm just like, man, you know, I'm emotionally drained, I feel beaten up, and I just need a second to like recharge. But fully giving up is never an option, and I personally love that because I feel like life is so worth it. It is, you know, like there's so many beautiful and magical things about life, and I feel like no matter how difficult of a time it is that you're going through, it's only temporary and happy things are going to come back to you. So don't give up. Don't give up, even when you feel like everything around you is really like dark and you don't know what to do. Don't give up. Okay, with that, we are done for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that something you heard here today helps you in whatever it is that you're going through. I wish you guys all the best, and I hope you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel for further content. Bye.